Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Well, I got absolutely stomped in the video that I recorded this morning, so I'm going to play some feel-good magic. I'm going to play mono black cards that Phil likes. Today's league is funded by Nicholas, who just told me to do my thing. I found this list in the 5.0 deck list dump. There's a couple of things that I don't like about it, but generally speaking, this is full of very fun cards that I like. So, generally speaking, Dark Confidant has fallen off the face of the earth in Legacy. It's really rare to see it these days. Removal has gotten a lot better and more abundant than in Legacy of many, many years ago, where a Dark Confidant could realistically sit on the table for 3 or 4 turns, accumulating a ton of card advantage. Now there's so many good flexible removal spells, Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, Lightning Bolt, Abrupt Decay, yada 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 yada, that it's just less likely that it sticks around and gets to do its thing. But if we play it alongside of a bunch of other things that kind of require an immediate answer, or they do annoying things, maybe our good friend Dark Confidant can go and do its thing. Now, kind of starting with the mana base here, swamps should be split with snow-covered swamps because of Predict. Cavern of Souls, I think, is a little bit questionable. You've got a pretty reasonable split here. Like, you can put it on human and cover some stuff, and you can put it on... And you can put it on Phyrexian to cover some other stuff, but even when you do that, you know, you also have things like Dauthi Rogue in there. So Cavern isn't perfect. Cavern doesn't cast him. Cavern doesn't kick Turok. That said, we'll see how it actually feels. I am also not the biggest fan of Castle Locthwain. I think this is an ETB wastelandable land that is worse than Swamp most of the time. And I think the the life loss is very relevant when you also end up playing a Thoughtseize deck. But, you know, this deck gets to play Phyrexian Obliterator, and basically anytime that I can do that in Legacy and justify it, I just do. So we're gonna have decent disruption, decent removal. We're not necessarily going to have the best endgame in the world. We're kind of hoping to punch a hole, play something big that spirals the game, be it via card advantage or just, you know, clocking our opponent in 3 or 4 turns. And in the post sideboard games, we also have the Leyline of the Void, Helm of Obedience combo to kind of deal with our opponents in that capacity. Yeah, we're just gonna vibe today. We're just gonna chill. We're gonna have some fun playing Magic. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. This is the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. All right, we're maybe gonna try recording a round in standing desk mode. See how that feels. I mean, I basically can't say no to this hand, right? Legally speaking, I'm not allowed to mulligan this. 3, 4, 5 mana, that's Liliana and one of these two on turn 1. Which one? Voidwalker plus Lily of the Veil is super cute. Dark Confidant is Dark Confidant, though. I could keep both and just get rid of Thoughtseize. Let's do that. And then I can have that flexibility. Windswept Heath. I have no idea how bouncy I am going to be while doing this. I also think I need to be a touch higher, but we can do some adjustments in between rounds. All right. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual's cousin, more other Dark Ritual. Dauthi Voidwalker here. Now let's Dark Confidant here. Then drop Lily. Ooh, this is a different art Lily. This is Lily as Professor Onyx, right? Yeah, I think so. Alright, well, get that hierarch out of here. Maybe let's go up a touch. Or I can step back a step like this. Bear's got to go out of the background, though. Let's get rid of that. Bam. Okay. Dauthi Voidwalker now. I might just honestly discard Castle Locthwain over Swamp. Swamp doesn't get wastelanded. Kind of feels like a big deal right now. Go ahead and do that. Plus this. Rid of Castle Locthwain. Nuff out under there. Sure. Send in. Yeah, I send in. Lily's only being attacked for 1. I would happily trade to get to the point where Lily can clearly edict the board. Yeah, this is fine. Dryad Arbor. into new Reclaimer. That's fine. Ooh. I mean, this was not the plan as of the beginning of this turn, but it seems fine. I muted you. Alright. Edict target you. And send in with the Voidwalker. Now we just have Voidwalker into Voidwalker, 6 damage per turn cycle, which is pretty respectable. Allosaurus Shepherd is fine. Can snuff that out if I ever feel like that's a problem. I don't even think I go for that right now. I just send in with this. I probably should have played the other Dauthi Voidwalker pre-combat though. Like that was probably a mistake on my end. For sure. I guess not edicting opens up my opponent to have Cradle plus Natural Order in their next couple of cards. Artisan is fine. That is just innately going to be small due to Dauthi Voidwalker. This just kills my opponent next turn. And my opponent doesn't have Cradle, they didn't play that out. So I'm not in the clear, because they could have Natural Order in hand and then top deck and Edict, but it feels fine. I don't think I have to snuff out in this turn cycle to stay alive or anything. Alright, cool. So it looks like I'm playing against like the Newton Elves, the Fiend Artisan Elves. Plague Engineer, Toxic Deluge are fine. Actually, like my whole sideboard is technically playable here. That's weird. I'm gonna have some serious thinking to do, huh? Turok is just too slow. That's an easy cut. From there, if I bring in Leyline and Helms, I probably have to cut Bob. Most of the time, I'm not going to be able to 1-for-1 my opponent with removal. I need things like this. Yeah, do I just treat myself like a combo deck here? Board out most of my fair stuff. Board in an unfair combo finish. And I can think about these as well. Rajabomb's really slow on the draw. Could impact the board over hemming. Thoughtseize, I think, is still reasonable as a turn 1 play. Alright, this is just like maximum board control plus Helm finish. Well, Plague Engineer doesn't die to a snuff out. I'm gonna keep this. A little bit of a weird hand. Ignoble Hierarch. Sure. That is notably not an elf. Goblin Shaman. Turns weird. I can 2-for-1 myself to take Ignoble Hierarch off the table right now. Toxic Deluge makes me kind of not want to commit individual cards to the board. I'm just gonna play Swamp and pass. I like where this is going for me. Sure. With 2 of those there, do I want to just Plague Engineer? Save the Deluge for later as an emergency exit button. Alright. Dark Ritual. Plague Engineer. Endurance is reasonable. Goblin Shamans, right? I will name Shaman. I'm fine trading Plague Engineer for Endurance if my opponent attacks. Using the Dark Ritual is just like a little bit awkward though, because Dark Ritual is theoretically what gets me to Helm mana. It's fine. Even if I wipe my own Plague Engineer, it already got me a 2-for-1. Like, I've gotten my value off of that card. Do I just take a 2-for-1 to deny 2 mana? I think so. I think I go ahead and attack for 2 damage and then do a Deluge for X's 4. I'm overall good with that. Opponent goes to 17. Cavern on Phyrexian, because that hits Phyrexian Obliterator. For 4 life, wipes Endurance. And in theory, we have Dauthi or Helm into... Sorry, Dauthi or Leyline into Helm. Sure. And potentially get a Dryad Arbor. Is not, though. Opponent just fetched. Go ahead and just drop a Dauthi Voidwalker here. I think my opponent was just preemptively fetching around Sudden Edict, which is smart. My opponent's waiting to pay costs on something here, which probably means Green Sun. Yep. The Green Sun for a Dryad Arbor. Second Cradle. A Grist. Sure. A little annoying right now. It's not a problem at all if I draw a land. I unfortunately did not draw a land. So Grist is going to get to do cool shit. Take that Endurance. Sudden Edict. Eating a Grist token. Like, very obviously not where I want to be. Sure. And I am just willing to fire this off here. I'm not happy about it, but given that I have 3 different 4-drops in hand, and that this does deny a mana for Cradle, I'm fine doing it. Makes this play a lot better. Please don't have an Endurance again. Start a Helm. Boseiju. Very happy to get rid of that. My opponent largely has the better Planeswalker here because, like, that one can directly pressure my Liliana. Yep. Yuck. I'm going to Edict my opponent, then I'm going to lose my Liliana. I can't plus here, I don't think. Just don't think that makes sense to discard one of my cards when they're just going to Grist minus and get rid of it anyway. This is a weird spot because, yeah, if I have Opposition Agent, the attack is so bad. And I don't have the removal spell to punish this line. Bye, Lily. Okay. Dauthi Voidwalker's okay. Like, that's something that can pressure the Grist. It's something that combos with Helm. Okay. So my opponent probably has a Dryad Arbor here. Oh, nope. Regular bio. We seen 2 Dryad Arbors yet? Oh, we have seen 2 Dryad Arbors. JK. Alright. Take your critter. There is a natural order. Alright. Dark Ritual would be my ideal draw. Negative? Not really hit a land to save my life here. I could technically get one with Dauthi Voidwalker, but I don't think I'm interested in going that route. We're essentially just going to trade Planeswalker for Planeswalker here. Again, I think this is fine, as long as my opponent doesn't have a real source of card advantage. Like, my Helm of Obedience should win me this game an overwhelming majority of the time. Bye, Lily. No big deal. Okay. Going to go ahead and attack first. And then with Dauthi, put my opponent to 12. I think I actually play Leyline of the Void here. I don't really want to just lose the game to playing out Helm and my opponent having Boseiju as their last card. Because, like, they didn't play out a creature and they would have played just about any creature out. So it's like creature card or natural order. Green Sun is okay. A Rex Sage blowing up Leyline. Be a Collector Oof as well, which would be a pain. Another Grist. Sure. Opponent is just playing in a way that defends Grist. That's okay. My opponent is dead if I draw a land or a Dark Ritual. Not. Am I playing out Helm? Oh, my opponent's tapped out. Let's just confirm. I get Verdant Catacombs, I fetch, I play Helm, my opponent dies. And I can't think of anything that beats that. Verdant. Play it. Fetch. Swamp. Helm. Actually, my opponent's last card being yet another copy of Endurance would do that. I would give them another turn since they still have cards in graveyard. That was a really interesting match. GG's. Alright, I've kept my opening hand. I have Thoughtseize into him, which will be pretty good against some sort of unfair deck. And I have some nice top end. As long as I draw more lands or Dark Confidants or something, I'm okay. Swamp Bobble. Okay. Maybe the Mono Black Saga Storm deck is possible here. That's weird. Most immediate benefit that I can get is doing this. Dark Ritual is better served fueling out one of these things. Next turn I can have 4 mana, which is like this and this, but this would be my play this turn if I don't do this. I think I just accept the awkwardness and fire off the Dark Ritual here. Again, you can write a book about Thoughtseize versus him first in these situations. Fuck? The fuck? Why? Take Recruiter. I'm gonna him my opponent. Hopefully taking Urza Saga. Nice. Urza Saga and Scrubland are gone there. I'll have an awkward turn 2 in all likelihood, and then hopefully do cool stuff after that. I have no idea what the fuck my opponent is playing. Yeah, you got a card. And it's impressive when I am fully stumped. Like, I don't know why we want this. I don't mean that in a negative way. I literally do not understand. Okay, cool. That next land drop's super important. Okay. They weren't willing to just take a creature there. Is this some sort of combo that I'm just not getting? This feels like the black-white Rector deck. Or something. Alright. Play Liliana. Liliana plus. I think against potential white removal, I just discard Phyrexian Obliterator. Like, I love him, he is my son, but I think Sheoldred is the better creature in a vacuum here. Alright, my opponent discarded that. Alright. No play. Yes. I do this before Liliana in case opposition agent happens and I have to edict that. Grief and Kaya's Guile. Okay. So it's some sort of black-white scam, ephemerate, deck list. I'm going to get rid of Sudden Edict in hopes of actually being able to put Sheoldred into play next turn. I don't really know if that's correct, but if I draw one of the, I don't know, 20 lands in the deck or whatever, looping Sheoldred in is really strong. Okay. I mean, that is an acceptable thing to draw. Yeah, you may have your 1/1. I will get rid of Lily. You may have a 1/1 Spirit. Urza Saga is incredibly good on this board. Very, very good against Lily Edicts. Hey, I've got a Sheoldred. I will take out for Urza Saga, sacrifice fodder. And now Sheoldred gets to start doing work. Got Castle Locked as well, but Urza Saga is just a much stronger land here. I draw a card. It is a Thoughtseize. I just plus Lily to get that out of my hand. Am I protecting Lily? I'm not protecting Lily, right? Back my opponent to 13. This is really 11. My opponent has Retrofitter Foundry. They could kill Lily. Otherwise, Lily's still around. I can just pump the brakes here. This game slowing down probably favors me. I am going to draw my card now. So this actually nets me life because of Sheoldred, which is cool. Yeah, no Sheoldred attack. My opponent will make their construct end of turn. Just fetch to thin. Opponent loses 2 here. Then a lot of how this next turn cycle plays out depends on what my opponent's Urza Saga package looks like. Like they may or may not have Pithing Needle in game 1. And like it's kind of a big deal if they do. Because Lily gets shut off. And then I'm kind of punished for not attacking with Sheoldred. Oh, oh. Okay. So that's why Recruiter Guard is around, because there are combos in this deck. So my new plan is murder my opponent. I will have you sacrifice a creature. Play second Dauthi Voidwalker, which I maybe shouldn't actually have shown my opponent. I shouldn't have shown my opponent the second one, because they might know that they need to chump block now to have a better chance of being alive versus 6 unblockable damage next turn. That's an error on my part. Emrakul that I... Oh wait, that was a different league. Okay. Right? No Emrakul? That was the previous league I recorded this morning. My opponent goes to 8 in their upkeep. 6 in their draw step. Is theoretical lethal. Sure, that's fine. Alright, and my opponent has conceded. So now I know they have a painter kill. Wild. Okay. So, what do? Ratchet Bombs are legit versus Urza Sagas. My opponent didn't have Pithing Needle in game 1. That doesn't mean they don't have it after post-sideboard games. We got things like Recruiter. I didn't see a bunch, but they in theory should have access to good removal. In theory, there's probably some ephemerate type nonsense over there, because I saw Grief. I don't know whether or not I want this combo. They didn't see things like Swords to Plowshares, which make Obliterator much worse, but in theory they should be there. I think because of how bad this is versus Swords to Plowshares, I'm going to board that out for a couple of Ratchet Bombs. Just call that good. I need to collect more information this game. Yeah, this is totally fine. Also, I don't think you can hear the washer and dryer, but if you can hear the washer and dryer, leave me a timestamp and please let me know. Because I can hear it. Grief is fine. New house means adjusting to a lot of different things. Yep, okay. I assumed that was going to be the case. Petals in there. Okay. Opponent's got an Ancient Tomb hand. My hand's quite slow now that I lost that Thoughtseize. Not going to be able to, say, play Opposition Agent before this Urza Saga comes down. Painter this turn is awkward. I have a lot of top deck outs to this. Everything has been painted black. That is not a top deck out. I'm going to continue to play with strength. See if my opponent does just go for the immediate kill. They should. But who knows, maybe they won't. There is the Grindstone. And they don't even have to use the Lotus Petal here. Okay, I will concede to that. GG. Yeah, that hand is not an issue unless they also have the Grief. Now that I'm on the play, this is much stronger. I wonder if I'm not supposed to try to kill my opponent in a fair way, and if I should just board in my own combo. My combo's just slower than theirs. Yeah. I don't think I can try to be the combo deck here. Maybe a Turok or two can come out. I'm so glutted on 2-drops. Maybe I keep one Obliterator or one Toxic Deluge. A little light on win conditions. I guess I'm trying to be the control deck though, so I guess that's okay. I believe in Dark Confidant. In all seriousness, my opponent hasn't showed me a removal spell yet in 2 games. Like, that second one was a short game, but I think as long as Bob gets me at least 1 card, this is just totally reasonable. Because anything that is not a land is good at this stage of the game. Like, discard is good, planeswalkers are good, threats are good, removal's good. I don't care if I eat a discard spell here. I just care if there's like a Swords to Plowshares on Bob. Yep, that's fine. A-okay with me. Yep. Multiple baubles. Dauthi Voidwalker is fine. We'll go ahead and floop that down. I've got 5 power in play on turn 2. I'll have 8 power in play on turn 3, and I can also deny searches off of something like Urza Saga. Speak of the devil, he shall appear. Foretold cold card hashtag entered the exile zone. Okay. Sure. I literally have no idea what that means. Like, I understand that foretold. Oh, that destroys an enchantment? Oh, that's fucking savage. Okay. Yeah. Like, I understand what that mechanic does. Like, they can cast it for a reduced cost later. I, however, do not know what on earth foretold card is playable in Legacy. Sinkhole is good. Doesn't even cost me life. I assume that means my opponent will now cash in their baubles. They should not be doing this in my main phase. Well, no, sorry, they don't draw the card till later. That does not matter. They are keeping one around, though. Sure? Is... okay. That resolves. Don't think I care about that card given my hand and board. Like, Dauthi Voidwalker is still attacking for 3, which is what I wanted it to be doing. So, life's good. My opponent is on a 2-turn clock, and I have an instant speed opposition agent for if they fetch. Any 2 of these cards will be lethal next turn, so I'm beating a removal spell. Saga's fine. I also beat like a Toxic Deluge because my opponent has to do it for 2, and then I have 3 power afterwards. Sure. Looking at their own card to gain information before whatever play they make. Okay. GG. I wish I had seen more of my opponent's deck. Okay. 4 of a kind, good poker hand. Questionable legacy keep, especially since I don't have black, true black for any of these lilies. I think I just mulligan here. And I don't love this hand. I think on the draw, I'll just keep it on 6. But I'm not in love. Second Turok can go since it's legendary. Old Misty Rainforest. Sheoldred's not what I'm looking for. Opponent No Fear fetches into Dark Ritual Opposition Agent. And I don't have it, so they're fine. Savannah Volcanic Island. Maybe some sort of 4-color Minsk and Boo control deck list. Not sure which of these 2 drops I'm going to play out. If my opponent's removal is primarily white-based, just slamming a Turok now is great. My opponent has like a Life from the Loam-based engine. Playing Dauthi Voidwalker on turn 2 is better. Oh fuck, rhinos! Alright, so my opponent is going to Cascade until they hit Rhino tokens. They are playing legit Leyline binding control. So how am I beating 2/4/4 Rhinos? The Shardless Agent is whatever, I can trade Turok with that. I don't have a game 1 combo. I don't have any removal spells. I need to get a Sheoldred into play. I don't think I beat this deck. I'm not super great at dealing with 3 bodies. White, red, fire. Okay. Play opposition agent, trade with Shardless Agent, go to 1, draw land, play Sheoldred, block 1, die. Concede. This is not happening. So I've got like Minsk and Boo plus this fast Rhino bullshit to deal with. Okay. I do not think I win in a fair fight. Leyline Blinding makes these expensive cards seem pretty bad. I think I become a Leyline Helm deck and hope that I can get rid of Force of Wills and Force of Negations early on. So I'm going to go down on traditional win conditions and probably go up on removal. I'm not the biggest fan of Turok here. We ballin' with Dark Confidant? Might still be ballin' with Dark Confidant. Greatness at any cost, even when the cost is 4. My edicts are pretty bad. I think edicts become Ratchet Bombs for Rhino tokens, a Toxic Deluge for Rhino tokens. Oh, that's just 60. Yeah, that's just 60. Let's try that. Okay, I have kept an opening hand that allows me to punch a hole, hopefully in whatever the first thing my opponent is doing. Force of Vigor. I will allow you to keep Force of Vigor. I just have to take the Shardless Agent here. You can take out my Leyline if you'd like. It's good, but it's not critical to my plan. It just naturally drew that. Okay. That's a bit of a tilt. That's just their inevitability. Sure. Force of Vigor is a problem. I think I try to get rid of it with Liliana of the Veil. Okay, that's fine. Sure. Go ahead and plus, getting rid of Opposition Agent. I got rid of this Spirit Guide. And again, the hope is that I can get them to discard Force of Vigor. Don't know how realistic that is, but I am certainly going to try. A plus, discarding this Leyline. Discarding an island. Play this in pass. I don't play out Helm. Rhinos are coming. That's not playing out Spirit Guide. I need to go ahead and just plus here. Get rid of Swamp. Continue to try to get them to get rid of Force of Vigor. Yep. They might just cast it here to take out Leyline of the Void, which would not be the best for me. But I avoid giving them the 2-for-1. I do have a Lily Ultimate available to me. Alright. Okay, Numa is not great. I'm going to go ahead and do this. 1 Rhino goes in each pile. This would let them cast a Shardless Agent with any other land. This keeps red and green separated into 2 piles. Don't mind that. I will drop this, play a Helm, and try to draw a Dauthi Voidwalker. Alright. Moot point, they drew a fetch land, so they have access to their appropriate colors now. Sure. Alright, I mean, let's just get lucky and draw a Dauthi Voidwalker or a Leyline. 4, 8, 12. So I can't activate Castle Locthwain. It is just fully what is the top card of my deck. And I don't think I can realistically win the game by activating Helm of Obedience in a fair way. Nope, dead. Concede. I do feel like my opponent got a little lucky with the top decks. Like that turn 1 Crashing Footfalls was rough. That top deck Violent Outburst was rough. But generally speaking, I think this is a very hard matchup for the deck that I'm playing. I don't expect to win. Okay. I have an incredibly slow hand that I might keep. My opponent's probably playing fair. I never get wastelanded. I have Edict into Big Scary Thing, and then plus. I think I'm going to keep this one. I may regret this fully, but my opponent traditionally plays fair decks, and I think I have the time for this to be acceptable. That's fine. Yeah, okay. I'll wait a turn. My extra. Sure. A little awkward for me. Double tax stuff. I think I just continue to fully play around stuff. I can just pay this tax here. Yes, take your scariest thing over there. Remember what I said about not getting wastelanded? Alright. I think I'm more scared of Fiend Artisan. But it's pretty close. Made my land drop. Next turn I just play an Obliterator and gum up the board. Was the burden. Sure. There's Knight. And then I can try to do cool things with other stuff here. Discard is not ideal here. And I think a big portion of whether or not I win or lose this game is whether my opponent has access to Merit Lodge. Yeah, I just legitimately don't know where this deck is at right now. I played a version of their deck about 2 weeks ago. Cradle? That's fancy. Green Sun for 3? Oh. No. That gets a frowny face in the chat, for sure. Alright. Did I win at this point? Not really. I think I am going to concede here. I am very happy with the keep, by the way. It's just that it was very awkward to get like this into this, putting me off one more extra turn than I thought I was going to be off. Alright. My opponent has apologized for their crime against humanity of killing Phyrexian Obliterator. Alright, what are we gonna do? So, like, basically, do I want a combo finish here? The ley lines are actively strong, so I think the answer is yes. Sheoldred goes out, my opponent can tutor up Karakas. I don't think the discard is particularly potent here. I think I'm going to play much more to the board. Probably playing Feed the Swarms. Are we doing greatness at any cost? Or am I going down those? Like, I probably go down those for extra removal here. 1 Ratchet Bomb is reasonable. I maybe shouldn't play the Obliterator and should play 1 Ratchet Bomb, 1 Bob or something like that. But Obliterator is just another one of those things that brings the ground game to a standstill. And I don't hate it. This is fine. Esper Sentinel makes my decision kind of weird here. I think because of Esper Sentinel, I just play a Dauthi Voidwalker out on turn 1. Like, I conceptually like playing 2 of them out on turn 2. That's better against like single target removal in some ways, but just kind of trade some resources back and forth here for the beginning of this game. I've got removal covered for a little while. This isn't a hand that has enough mana to do all the things that I otherwise might want to do. That's fine. I go ahead and... Actually, do I just want to Edict that? This can be pointed at a creature properly later. Might cost me one more life. Yeah. I just want to Edict that. Chip in for 3. Just awkward, like if my opponent plays like Dryad Arbor plus 2-drop on a future turn or something. Yeah, that's fine. 3 mana, 4/5 mana, 4/5 mana. Dark Ritual. Feed the Swarm. Liliana of the Veil. Lily plus. I guess at this point I should pop out this zone. I don't want to go on the mana denial plan. Let's just hit my opponent. Basically hoping to avoid double creature or a source of card advantage like Grist. Okay, I mean that's technically a source of card advantage, but not one that I'm particularly afraid of. This is an awkward situation. I don't like what's about to happen. But I can't plus here. The Helm's too good. Do this. Fetch. Dryad Arbor. Yep. Knew that was coming. Didn't want to stop it. I did have the opportunity to stop it, but I did not want to. Just clarifying. I could have sacrificed Dauthi Voidwalker to get Wasteland to play around that scenario fully. But since I am planning on getting a Dauthi Voidwalker Helm of Obedience kill in this game, I did not want to actually play it out that way. Fuck me. Yeah. I mean, this is literally the card I named that I did not want to face down. Thank you, deck. Very cool. This is bad. Oh, and my opponent. Oh, fuck. Alright, GG's. I've got a top deck real well to beat that. Real well. So my opponent's stuff is now safe from edicts. I can play out a Helm. I need to top deck away to get the other half of the combo. I've used one Dauthi Voidwalker. The remaining 3 Dauthi Voidwalkers get me a kill. Leyline forces me to pass the turn. My opponent didn't forge, so they're not killing me as fast as humanly possible. They're just killing me quickly. I've already dealt with the Collector Oof this game. But there's probably another Green Sun target that answers an artifact. Like a Knight of Autumn or something. Or Outland Liberator. Sure, that's fine. Yeah. Those were some savage draws. How does this card work again? No spells during their own turn. Okay. Is this a fair Helm for X is 4 or 5? I don't think so. Try to draw a card. Ratchet Bomb's going to be too slow. I'm going to concede. My opponent has Initiative plus Frenzy Trap Breaker plus Grist. That's not happening. GG's. Alright, I've kept my hand for the final round. I wish that I had one more land, but I don't think this is worth throwing back with 4 different 2-drop plays. Like, I don't love that this is wastelandable, but, you know, sometimes you just have to accept good enough. Alright. So I don't know exactly what we're playing against. No covered island could mean Ice Fang Waddle. Doesn't have to. Sure. I wish I had a disrupt. Well, Delta makes me want to Thoughtseize my opponent despite the fact that it is not mana efficient to do so. And I think I am going to do that. If I'm playing against some sort of Storm deck or Show and Tell deck or something, I want to disrupt now. Okay, it's Grixis Control. Buckle the fuck up. It's going to be a long one. Narset's probably the scariest thing here for me. It consumes all can just be taken out on its backside very easily. Narset representing Days Undoing kills later on is kind of a massive problem for me. Sure. Another basic. Sure. That's interesting to me. That's a very good top deck. Anyway, that's interesting to me because... Oh, okay, well. Less interesting now. Now they can have access to each one of their basics. Sure, that's fine. I might sorcery speed an opposition agent. No, I guess Drown in the Lock trades with it either way, right? Well, I guess Drown in the Lock doesn't technically kill it yet. I always play this out. Drown in the Lock. Yeah, I'm gonna sorcery speed this opposition agent and make my opponent think about whether or not they want to Force of Will it. They do. Force pitching force. That's fine. There's Swamp. The goal is to use opposition agent to get Drown in the Lock out of their hand and then kick Turok. So blue mana is actually not available now for opposition agent. Or sorry, for Drown in the Lock. No, that doesn't matter. They're about to untap. Sorry, it's conceptually weird playing around a counter spell / removal spell. I can still put it in now, though. Makes fetch lands worse and forces my opponent to use this if they want to fetch on their own turn. A little awkward against Lightning Bolt specifically doing that. Okay. Got the Drown out of their hand. Which is great. Now I get to attempt kicked Turok to take the other 2 cards. And the Baleful Strix damage is no big deal. Alright. With Kicker! Okay, sure. I don't think they have Hidetsugu Consumes All anymore. I would not if I was in their position. Cling to Dust is fine. Sorry, I should zoom in on that one. Exile a card from a graveyard. If it's a creature, you gain 3 life. Otherwise, you draw a card. Oh, I'm wrong. They did keep the Hidetsugu Consumes All. That was just so bad versus Sudden Edict that I assumed they would want to get rid of it. Sure. Cling to Dust is not the primo escape spell. It is no Uro. Like, it has its uses. Like, my opponent will get to draw a card out of it. But doesn't necessarily feel good. So I'm going to bash in for 3. Opponent goes to 13. I will play out a Dark Confidant. I will end up Sudden Edicting a Baleful Strix, mostly to just go down on cards in my hand. Alright, cool. We're in play. My opponent will Cling to Dust at end of turn. That's fine. Take your card. Alright, it's just a land drop. It's great for me. Mystic Sanctuary for Drown in the Lock. 4 mana. Oh, are you just going to escape immediately? That's fine. Now they can Drown in the Lock my Dark Confidant. Yep, end of turn. I will Edict your Strix out of the way. And probably start drawing cards with Castle Locthwain for basically the first time this league, I think. I am going to just do that at sorcery speed. Yeah. Dark Ritual doesn't really do anything here. Hit for 3. Opponent's at 9. Not in the best position here. I think I'm going to go ahead and Dark Ritual and just draw another card with Castle Locthwain. Got a long pause from my opponent there. Lily is cool. Obliterator is cool. Go ahead and crash in for 3. See if that works. Opponent is at 6. Okay, I'm interested in playing another threat here. This lets me hold up Sudden Edict as well. Yep, that's fine. Playing the other threat is much better versus removal. My opponent just has a single target removal spell or something. Also, it feels weird to rely on Drown in the Lock in your Hidetsugu Consumes All deck. I hit for 3. Bringing my opponent to 3. I think I will just Lily Plus and discard Dark Ritual. Oh, I could Lily Plus, discard Sudden Edict, keep Dark Ritual, use it with Castle Locthwain for a different card. But Sudden Edict is just nice. It's uncounterable for if my opponent plays something like Baleful Strix. I'm like, maybe not supposed to juggle this land here. But, or sorry, not this land. This card here. But I think I'm okay with it. My opponent's down a significant amount of clock already. Alright, that's just a land drop. I mean, I'm gonna plus. Show me what you got. That is a Snapcaster Mage. Sure. Target Drown in the Lock. I'll discard a Dark Ritual. We'll Sudden Edict your Snapcaster Mage out of the way. We'll Drown in the Lock my Turok. Yep. I will draw a card. Dauthi Voidwalker is great. My opponent will probably not get to do anything else with Cling to Dust here. Narset, I think, is literally their best possible draw. Like, I took that in the early game for good reason. Search for Azcanta. It has been a hot minute. You have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. You absolutely don't. Alright. Yeah. 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 Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. I can draw 1 card with Castle Locthwain on my opponent's turn, though. So my opponent is facing down a lethal from Dauthi Voidwalker and is also facing down a Liliana Ultimate that is threatening to take 6 or so permanents out of play. Okay. Sheoldred's Edict. Very good here. My opponent can force me to sacrifice the Liliana. Okay, sure. Guess I can get rid of that in that zone. Okay, they have to go after a Dauthi Voidwalker there. Goodbye. Rex is quite strong. What a string of draws. Alright, I will draw a card. Him's not great as of right now. Do I Edict Baleful Strix? I think I do. Also, I'm kind of playing for timeout from game 1. My opponent is down more than 4 minutes of clock already. That's just kind of something to keep in mind. End of turn. Draw a card. A new Liliana. Not super great. Like, very clearly not what I am looking for. We'll go ahead and Liliana Plus. Get rid of my him. There's a Force of Will. I will hold this other Liliana. That is worth point of life to me. Sure. Opponent will start doing Cling to Dust nonsense. And I would just like to take a moment to say how thankful I am that my opponent is not playing Minsk and Boo. Like, I would straight up just be dead if they were playing something that was trying to kill me. But instead they're trying to, like, draw cards and accrue value. Yeah, that's fine. Sure. Found a Strix, which is annoying. Also, I can deck my opponent. My opponent did not play out that Strix, notably. Wait. Oh, sorry, they returned a Snapcaster Mage. I just missed that. I discard this swamp here. Keep all this other stuff around. Sure, that's fine. Snapcaster's fine. Target's Lightning Bolt. We'll end up sudden edicting Snapcaster Mage. Oh, going for my face. Sure. I'll edict you. Bolt to my face means I don't get to draw another card with Castle Locthwain. Alright, Azcanta does flip. Sure, that's fine. Alright, they had another Lightning Bolt. I will die. They livey. Okay. My opponent literally cannot play another game of that length, though. Alright, very, very clearly I'm supposed to be playing Leyline Helm for this matchup. My opponent uses their graveyard very heavily. Plague Engineer's okay, clears Snapcaster and Baleful Strix. Ratchet Bomb can clear Planeswalkers. I think this game goes long enough, a decent portion of the time, where I make my first couple of turns worse to just be much threat heavier and have better endgame top decks. Do I need 4 Sudden Edict? 4 is a lot. I probably don't. 2 of those can probably be Ratchet Bombs that I work on ticking up. I didn't see anything like a Culligan's Command. Like, they could be around. Yeah, this is fine. Not necessarily the most excited about multiple Liliana of the Veils. Like, I want to get to 4 mana. But if my opponent expends a bunch of resources answering Lily, I'm okay with that scenario. Ponder's fine. Alright. Liline's kind of whatever. It's not what I'm looking for as a draw for right now. I just want more mana. Like a Dark Ritual in particular would be kind of ideal. Alright, unfortunately they had the Bolt for Bob. Ooh. Helm of Obliterator? Obliterator plus Dark Ritual is really bad versus just an Edict or something, though. Maybe I take a turn to do this. Brainstorm's fine. I'm actually really hoping for a Force of Will. Like, getting a 2-for-1 off this Liliana would be great for me. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And the search for Escanta is now answered, which helps. Sure. What do you have that you're going to play out? Narset or Hidetsugu Consumes All? Or they could just need black mana. Narset. This is very specifically one of the cards that I don't want to see here. Cling to Dust is fine. I want to pressure the Planeswalker, but resolving a Leyline here does a whole lot in terms of setting me up for long-term success. I didn't see a Day's Undoing in previous games, and if this Leyline hits play, my opponent more or less probably can't answer it. They might have one, maybe two cards that can. This just keeps Cling to Dust from ever being a thing, and keeps Snapcaster Mages from trading with my stuff. Sheoldred. Yeah, that is not a problem here. It's only a problem if my opponent has a follow-up Force of Will. I'm going to go ahead and play this out now. There's a temptation to just take a little bit more from this, but I don't really want my opponent to untap and then cantrip and find a way to protect that. Like, I'm pretty confident that my opponent does not have a Force of Will as of right now. I like to resolve things that matter while I can. I think I go for Picked Turok. Just try to get what is maybe a 3-for-1. A little awkward because Brown in the lock currently counters Turok, but doesn't counter or answer Obliterator right now. That's a thing. We're going for Turok. Okay, so my opponent's going to draw a card. That Cling to Dust is gone forever. Okay, I will take 2 cards here. Okay, sure. Fatal Push. Alright, there is a Fatal Push. I still take 2 cards here. I think I do trade for whatever that card is. I just get rid of this Dauthi Voidwalker. Yeah, I got rid of a Liliana the Last Hope for doing that. That's fantastic. And then next turn I just have Obliterator on a pretty much empty board. Fantastic. Yep. Ooh. Oh, that's a weird one. The Obliterator's so much better in combat, but the Sheoldred is passive damage. I think I played the Obliterator and let Liliana go. Okay, sure. You may fetch a cantrip. That's fine. Like, if they cantrip into a way to answer Obliterator, I just have Sheoldred. Also, like, block, I'm now up like 6 minutes. Sure, that's fine. No shuffle. Snapcaster Brainstorm. Snapcaster Brainstorm. I don't really know what you're looking for here. Okay. Yeah, you may attack my Liliana of the Veil. This is fine. I am just going to hit them. I think this game is not about finishing off that Narset. They're at 9 with a resolved Sheoldred in play. Yep, this is fine. They're at 8 with a resolved Sheoldred in play, which effectively means they're dead in another turn cycle. 5 from an Obliterator hit, 4 from 2 Sheoldred triggers. And I am good with that. My opponent should probably concede right now if they don't have some crazy top deck, because they are going to time out. Okay, Helm is cool. I will attack my opponent. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Probably Sheoldred here. Alright, Baleful Strix blocks. My opponent takes 4 damage, and now sacrifices a permanent. Fantastic. Better to just play out Helm. No. I can just top deck a land next turn. I'll play out a Dauthi Voidwalker. Brown in the lock is fine. I'm at 18. I'm just going to repeat the same line as last turn, where my opponent is dead if they miss on a removal spell, and if they find a removal spell, I just play Helm if I brick. That's fine. Taking 2 is not that big of a deal. Okay, yeah, my opponent dies here. Helm. Helm target you. Oh, cool, my opponent is going to show me their deck. That is appreciated. Guess I should technically snip this. Okay, my opponent's got 6 minutes left on clock. They have to kill me extraordinarily quickly. They have Baleful Strix, Snapcaster Mage, 2 Hidetsugu. There is a K command, a Narset, a Jace, a Lily, Sheoldred. I think things like Sudden Edict, Feed the Swarm, and Plague Engineer become more appealing now that I need to just time my opponent out. Ratchet Bomb feels slower than Sudden Edict. Get that in there. Do I still want to play Leyline Helm? These cards are just individually pretty bad on their own. If I'm leaning fully into timeout, I cut all of these and play like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If my opponent wasn't so low on time, I would stay on this strategy, but they are this low on time. So I think this is fully just like don't die dot strategy. My Liliana the Veils don't feel that good either, but they eat a lot of clock from my opponent. Here's that Cavernous Souls biting me in the butt. It's keeping me from casting 2 of these cards. I am going to keep this hand. I am not a very big fan of it. I'm going to hope that I draw a black source in a couple of cards here. Alright. We can play a handful of uncounterable Dauthi Voidwalkers if I have to. Storm's fine. Alright, sure. Baleful Strix is fine. Alright. Rogue. And I will go ahead and play this rather than just immediately sudden edicting a Baleful Strix. Fine. Keeps a Lightning Bolt from going to the graveyard. And I'm just hoping to draw a land here. Hey, a land. Now, I think I play a Liliana here. This is currently not counterable via a Drown in the Lock. And I'll edict my opponent. Call it a turn. No big deal. Every single card that I can get out of my opponent with things like Liliana is just paving the way for the rest of my things to do better and better. I think given how many resources they use to fight the first one, I just do this again. I'll plus. Fling is fine. I'm basically never double spelling with Toxic Deluge. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. My opponent has discarded another Cling to Dust. Ooh, and an end of turn fetch. Sure. Brainstorms are fine. My opponent is now sub 5 minutes. They're down 6 minutes of clock. Looking to draw any land so I can Dauthi Voidwalker and him in the same turn cycle. Sure. Edict that Strix out of the way. I think I just go for a him here. Just pave the way for other cards to be more impactful. Force my opponent into these slow Cling to Dust lines. Got a Bolt and a Ponder. My opponent intentionally did not Bolt Liliana there. And Mystic Sanctuary a Ponder back. Oh, they're gonna Mystic Sanctuary a Bolt. That was just in your hand. I don't know if your last card is just insane, or if you were just F6'd or what there. Okay. Sheoldred's not actually all that good here. I didn't get to my upkeep in time. I was going to edict that in my upkeep to save 2 life. I did not succeed. Welcome to Magic Online things. So now I have 4 cards in hand. My opponent has Cling to Dusts. They are very physically taxing to cast in terms of time as a resource. That's not really where my opponent wants to be. Drown in the Lock is fine. Fantastic. I have uncounterable Dauthi Voidwalker this turn. I'm thinking about whether I probably want to play a Ratchet Bomb this turn. Again, I'm not necessarily trying to kill my opponent. I'm just trying to time them out. Alright, so I got a spell to resolve. Then I'll go ahead and play Dauthi Voidwalker. That is uncounterable. Welcome to what you have to do when you are behind on clock and you don't have time to think about actions. Narset is fine. A Culligan's Command is very good versus Ratchet Bomb. Though my opponent might just go for getting back Strix. Sure. Go ahead and charge a Ratchet Bomb in response to that. Alright, good. I needed that black source, otherwise Cavern was gonna screw me over. This is a kicked Turok. Take my opponent's remaining 2 cards. Okay, Force is fine. Baleful Strix can attack me for 1. I'll go to 16. New Narset. Legend Rule previous Narset. Finding a Liliana. That's real good. Makes my Dark Confidant very awkward. What are the stats on this? 3, so my opponent can plus it to 4 loyalty. I'm just going to kill that with a Ratchet Bomb. Kind of makes me not want to play Plague Engineer. Kind of need to force my opponent to play that card, though. Let's play this. I will name Bird to kill Baleful Strix. And pass the turn. Yep. Fatal Push. Their own Plague Engineer. Naming Human. I'm going to go ahead and charge up Ratchet Bomb. I know that I want to use that to get rid of Lily. Do I attack? Yes. I'll go ahead and attack my opponent and see if they want to trade 1 for 1 here. Yeah, they do. I'll just pass the turn, Ratchet Bomb Lily away, then play Dark Confidants afterwards. Okay. I mean, if we stare at each other for a while, I draw discard eventually, right? I aborted out a lot of the discard. Most of it, in fact. Oh, that's fine. Again, if my opponent is not putting any pressure on my life total... Ooh, that's annoying. That is an incredibly time-intensive card, though. This is actually probably favorable for me. Alright, do I want to Ratchet Bomb Jace? In a long game, the answer is yes. Right now, I can just trade Jace and then try to beat Lily. Jace eats so much clock, though, and I'm so much more scared of Lily than I am Jace. Go ahead and leave that. Yeah, I'm just going to chill. These are incredibly unhealthy play patterns, but welcome to the chess clock that is Magic Online. Alright, sure. Brainstorm away. Their Trazkanta is fine. Yeah, I'm still just going to let them have Jace. Castle Lockwain is cool. Petty Theft Ratchet Bomb. That's annoying. Okay. Yeah, like my opponent can flip that. They have 1 minute and 30 seconds to try and kill me. Okay, sure. Fetching is fine. There's Liliana. Liliana minuses. Returning Sheoldred. I think I don't pay life 4 cards here. Fine. I think I vomit stuff onto the board here. There's a Ratchet Bomb. There is a Dark Confidant. There is another Dark Confidant. And at that point, I will pass the turn. Fatal Push eats 1 of these. Opponent plays a Brazen Borrower, which I will feed the Swarm either that or Sheoldred in a minute. Okay. I'll go ahead and charge my Ratchet Bomb in response there. Alright, sure. There is a Sheoldred. Sure. Take a little damage. Nice. Alright. So, feed the Swarm Sheoldred. 4 mana, play my own Sheoldred. My opponent draws a card. I gain some life. They lose some. Take this opportunity to charge Ratchet Bomb up. Sure. Okay. Got a Sheoldred. I'm down to 4. Not great. Plague Engineer is very good. This is Fairy Rogue. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. In case there's any weird days nonsense, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Cast a Plague Engineer. Double check Rogue. Rogue. 4 mana for my own Sheoldred. Ooh, my opponent has a Force of Will. That is very annoying. So my opponent draws a card. They gain 2 life. Okay. This is very frustrating. I need to set a stop here. Charge Ratchet Bomb. I need to draw something that answers Sheoldred at instant speed here, or I die. Yeah. Oh, fuck, that does it that way too. That's very frustrating. Alright, GG's. Alright, well that's a bit of a frustrating end to the league there, but the loss might have been my fault. I could have just answered the Jace, but the Liliana was just very awkward afterwards if I did that, and I figured if my opponent kept activating Jace, they would probably time themselves out. Which, to be fair, they very nearly did. Overall thoughts on the deck list? I mean, it's fun. It is what it is. You know you're not going to do particularly well when you sign up with a deck list like this most of the time. It's underpowered relative to legacy standards, but it is very fun. And it has enough game that you feel like you are in most of your matches, even when you aren't. We did see the Cavern of Souls awkwardness a couple of times throughout this league. And it nearly cost me like being able to kick Turok, which is such a huge deal when you get to that mid game. So I probably wouldn't play Cavern in this list. Like trying to play black, 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 and black, 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 black cards is like that's so much on the mana base to even just be playing 2 colorless sources for those purposes. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!